Welcome back to the Real Triathlon podcast. And it's been a minute, Bill Christy. Where have you been all my life? Like, I haven't heard from you, haven't seen you. What's been going on with you, my friend?
It sounds like a dating issue, right?
Yeah, you've been
Uh,
you've been seeing other people. I get it, and now we're gonna like rekindle.
it's been busy. It's been busy. We've spent a lot of time diversifying the business between our half marathons, our gravel rides. Obviously, swim bike runs been a big change for us. Collegiate Nationals was so successful last year that we were asked by USAT to move it a little more towards the Midwest. Although we had a phenomenal showing of over 100 and I'm going to say 30-ish teams from all across the country, about 10,000 people in total, including athletes and relatives. And when we did that, we came across some real opportunities for pretty special venues. Um, Gulfport, Mississippi was a part of that BP oil spill. And as a part of that, there was a monumental cleanup. And the specific areas you come down just off of Main Street into the marina area, the marina is a pretty special place. And it's got a pavilion. Nick, I'm going to get this wrong, but I'm going to try and say it's 250 feet by 700 feet in a pavilion with its own amphitheater built into it.
Wow.
So it is a fantastic opportunity. They've got, as you would expect from a Clash event, they've got a 4-lane highway divided by about a 6-foot median that has beautiful sawgrass on it. So they're going to close down one side for us to have out and back traffic. We are going to do loops as you would expect from us, so spectator friendly. But right next to the beach is this 15-foot concrete, brand new sidewalk for a run path. And you're running by sugar sand that is groomed daily and sawgrass and a little bit of mounds, but you're looking at the water. Um, it is pretty special. And the people there.
Well, well, Bill, I think when it comes to your big idea of all the things that you kind of bring to this sport, it is never but diverse. It is nothing but oriented on making sure the athlete has the best experience. Now, I do want to talk in detail about this new race that you're doing, but I want to also just hit a quick blast to the past. You know,
Sure.
you've been around long enough to know a thing or two about endurance sports, and initially you started off with Clash Daytona, the flagship of your race. Then we went to some Miami, tested out some other things, and I'm curious what has evolved so much. And obviously, it's been still a passion because you're still doing it, and we know this is a labor of love because you're borrowing, and stealing everything you can to make this business successful. I mean, I love what you're doing, but tell me what's evolved over these last 4 or 5 years for you, and why you've ended up with the race lineup that you've got right now.
Well, let's start with the diversification first and foremost. Um, what we believe and have witnessed is what many people have talked about, and that is athletes are doing different things and they want different experiences. And that includes different types of venues. And so we know the best thing that we can deliver is a high quality product, regardless of where we are. Um, Mississippi was a great example of that. The age groupers are excited about it. Changing distances, another example. One of the things that we discovered, you were there, you know about it. We just did a short on it. It's about a 12-minute short talking about the creation of the Daytona distance that has been taken by many brands as an additive to their current distances, um, to give athletes at early or late in the season who don't want to do a 70.3 middle distance, but they do want to race more than an Olympic distance. So we've created that and added that to the repertoire. Um, I think with the addition, and the first test for us was really what we refer to as red line relay, which as you know, is a NASCAR race on bicycles, except you get to go out two at a time at a pit stop. There are pits that you have to move in and out of. It gets a little crazy. It gets a little tight. We've got a little bit of a purse on it, so it's fun. But as you look at why we transitioned, we wanted to ensure that we had a product for everybody, which has sort of been our mantra, right?
Mm-hmm.
All along. But now we've got a cycling product. Now we're doing gravel rides. Now we're doing half marathons. They're making money, which is great. And so the change that we've seen that we believe is that athletes want varying experiences, but they want the quality of a brand, right? And so we loved being in Miami. Miami, from the television standpoint, was just a great place to televise. When we took on the collegiates, we did the mixed relay super sprint, which was probably the biggest, best energy I've ever been around in the sport.
Wow, I mean, that's massive.
Thousands of people right against the fencing, watching the whole thing. It's evolving and erupting right in front of your face. It was really, really fun. So we're excited to be able to put that on again. But it's about diversifying the experience, giving the athlete more opportunity to do different things under a flagship and banner of quality that they expect.
That's well said. I've been to a lot of your events and I feel that same way. You guys don't scrape on the athlete experience, the food, the amenities, the check-in process, lodging. I mean, everything I believe that you put into a race makes it pretty easy to show up and have a great time. Now, are you seeing a lot of athletes? I mean, I coach a lot of them and I hear some of the feedback is, the 70.3 and 140.6 distance. Those have been such a wave through North America that it's almost washed away smaller distance racing, other endurance events, because it's just been like you have to dedicate so much time, resources, energy to show up to these events that are longer. Now, I would personally, and this is why I love what you're doing, I'd love to see diversification of distances for sure to bring back more grassroots, not even like what you're doing is grassroots, because that would assume that it's like, popsicle stick timing, but you guys are bringing the real deal. So that type of low impact, low budget point to get people invigorated, like what gaps are you trying to fill, Bill? Because it seems like, are you taking in more beginners? Are you taking care of athletes who've already been there and done that? Where are you seeing the majority of people sign up for Clash events from?
Interestingly enough, there's sort of three parts to that. There's three questions there. The first question is, what are the age groups that are showing up now? We are seeing a 25 to 30-year-old demographic coming in, but there's that gap. And then you're back out to the 50 and 60-year-olds. So that demographic's moving a little bit apart, but still growing on the younger, which is important to the sport, right, when it comes to multi-sport. The second part of that question is, what are we seeing and what are we doing for short course? We happen to believe that people are wanting to go back to shorter distances. And I think that an example of that is that some of the other major brands around the world have taken on the Daytona distance and put it into their race offerings around the world at their races. So I think that tells a pretty powerful story. Kids races has always been important to us. You know that. You've been out there cheering the kids on and you've been out there putting medals on them, and we're not ever going to give that up. And that's our give back to the community to the best of our ability. By that, I mean our triathlon multi-sport community. So shorter distance definitely is coming back. Now, the challenge is, prior to 2019, I just read this data and it's not going to be totally accurate, but I'm going to give it my best shot. I think long course in the United States were over 1,200 events. I think they're now sub 900 events. I'm sure COVID took a big hit on that and affected race organizers' ability to make money. So you've got that going on. We do think people are racing more regionally now, regardless of the distance. And I think you see that with specific races. I believe that you're seeing stable races that sell out every single time, regardless of the distance, being healthy and going to continue to thrive. But I believe that you will also see those that are not um, as viable being pruned, if you will, and seeded someplace else. So I also think that reads to the athlete experience wanting change and wanting some diversity and experience. So I think those two things correlate in the two different questions that you had.
Yeah, most definitely. I think regional events, I think you hit it on the nail on the head. And I think that the bearer of that responsibility isn't just on you, Bill. The coaching groups, the master swim programs, the community level aspects of daily training need to be providing outlets and talking about things beyond 70.3 and full iron distance or whatever that is. Because that's, I mean, if we're not creating these opportunities, then the athletes won't know what to do. And I just had a meeting with a guy who's like, you've probably got these guys, buddy, where they're like stuck in the 80s for triathlon. They've never gone beyond that. They're just like, yeah, let's just go out and just race right now. Like, why do we have to sign up for anything? Let's go swim to that buoy, go bike this thing, and we'll have some beers afterwards. Maybe we'll run, I guess. Like, that mentality, I think, is what was at this sport. And we're missing that. And I think us as coaches and entrepreneurs in the sport, we got to create more opportunities for these young people to fall in love with the sport, because it's, I mean, you said it yourself. Regionals is doing great, because who wants to travel with a bike and not be with it for 2 weeks after you come back from Spain, right?
I just got mine back.
I,
Well, my wife says it's because I wanted a new bike this Christmas. Not true. I love my bike, but it did come back in one piece, and I think that you taught me how to travel with a bike, and it is not. It's a little bit of a stressful experience, and it's probably the most stressful experience. But at the end of the day, I believe there's a little bit of responsibility on the coaches, and I'll share with you why. Um, Middle distance is something people want to achieve. It seems like people who used to sign up and race a lot of sprints through the summer as a summer activity with friends has gone. Now it seems to be, I've got a coach. I'm going to do a sprint. I'm going to do an Olympic distance, and I'm going to go do a middle distance, maybe a full distance. Um, I think that the coaching community is doing an injustice to their client and the future of the sport by focusing them on that mentality. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that is the mentality.
Yeah, it's what everyone's posting about and showing real, like, it's just the community momentum.
And if we can't figure out a way to generate more, my personal opinion is if you can do a bunch of sprints or a sprints in Olympics with your friends, you're going to have a much better time than training by yourself or training with a couple of friends to show up and do a middle distance and be burned out and say it's one and done, let alone go all the way to a full distance training session and be one and done. So to your point, I think that creates the health of the support. So it's on us to provide it and be able to provide it at a price point that's affordable, that is a high quality product. It's a bit of a challenge when you're used to handing people a Mercedes Benz and people are used to paying for Chevrolets. So you've got to figure out a way to make that work. And I think we do a pretty good job of that. So it's the combination of the two.
And what's kept you in this sport for so long, Bill? I mean, give me the real deal. Why do you still love it so much?
Have you seen me eat, Nick?
Well, that's a great point. We love to eat our calories and do our training to earn it back. I know there's that balance.
I will tell you that I just came back from a fabulous experience at Worlds. And I've told everybody this. The experience, first and foremost, the theater, right, aspect was really amazing. And they do such a spectacular job. I think the interesting part for me was that we had 3 ambassadors for Clash there in our kit. We had Um, my swim coach, Natasha Vandermeer, who's got NVD coaching, she was there with 8 of her athletes. We all worked together. Um, I had other friends that were there. So it all in, we had about 20 people that were, the men raced one day, as you know, the women raced on another day, as you know. So the women were all on the course cheering us on. The men were on the course cheering them on. And that's what keeps me going, is that joy. Being on a course, having somebody push you, having somebody see you, because racing alone is not fun. It's just
No.
not for me at this point in my life. But I've never really raced alone except for a couple of times, and that's just not the social component that I seek. So
The social component, that's what we're looking to satiate here, not the podium. I think that's really the transition we're seeing. Is we are such a performance driven society in North America, where more is more, is better, is always the best. And I think where some of us are getting pretty tired of that, especially when we get to go to these events and you don't have a good day. I mean, we're putting a lot of equity into a 1-day event that you may have trained 6 to 8 months for to really go to your expectations. So I think people are getting tired of that, Bill, and they want to go have fun and support each other, right?
I got to give credit to my friends at the Ormond Tri Club, because they do a better job of it than any group of people that I know. A lot of them are ambassadors for Clash, but they're just a special group, and they train together, and they're social together, and they race together. They support each other, and it's from a member who is never going to see a podium to some people who are on the podium every single weekend. And they've got that mentality. So yeah, people want to have fun, and yeah, you want to be on the podium, but you also want to do your best.
Well, that's the best part about Clash events is you all do seem to set up a lot of family. Like I've seen bounce houses and kid events. Like it's stuff. I mean, how many times have you gone to some of these big brand events and you're like, my family can't even do anything besides walk around and buy things, and then there's nothing to participate at the actual event besides watching me for 7 seconds here and there.
Yeah, my wife won't do that.
Yeah.
I think things that we have always been the most proud of is that we do have something for everybody. And when we started the lap experience, that changed the sport, right? We were the first ones to do lap experience.
Yes.
And that came out of necessity. Let's be fair, right? We know
Yeah.
I was born. You can go see the 12-minute docuseries that we did on the creation of the Daytona distance. But that circuit racing, getting people by the crowd all the time. The kids stuff, look, you want to carry your kid across the finish line, it's the best thing we can do. It's the best smile I can get, right? Puts a big smile on my face. I think what Andre Lepar, our COO, has done in the last couple of years took that even a step further. And we've got 2 race starts example for a sprint distance. We've got a competitive start, and we've got I'm going to do my best start, so that they're spread out. They're not going to overlink, and you don't have somebody blowing by on a bike who you hope is saying, I'm on your left to make
Yes.
it possible. But they may just go by you and scare the holy heck out of you. So we're trying to mitigate and give everybody a good time. So that's the thing that he has done recently that I think is great, is these bifurcating skill sets. But that's a big part of who we are.
I agree. And you've brought in every level from, world champion down to the beginner. You've connected everybody along the way. You've put a lot of passion into this, Bill, and, give me an outlet or an expectation of, aside from this launch of this race, which we'll talk about here in a little bit more detail, which is not a NASCAR event, by the way, which I want to talk about that too, or it's not on a NASCAR track, but what are you looking to do in the next 5 years in North America?
We really started this journey believing that we could change the sport, A, by circuit racing, and B, by broadcast. And we put on, I think, 7 pro races that aired on either NBC or Fox 1 with each race showing at least 8 times on television, which gave us an opportunity. I know these numbers pretty intimately, about 60 opportunities per race to sell ad space. Nobody was interested. And we're fortunate enough that we paid for production. We didn't have to pay for TV time. And when you look at the sports, and I had this conversation with somebody else recently, when you look at the sports that get paid to be on TV, people are shocked to know that there is NFL, there's NASCAR, the NBA, Major League Baseball, collegiate athletic sport, football, right? And the aggregate of everybody except for the NFL, relatively speaking, equals the NFL. So everybody else pays to be on television. And with that being the case, TV is not ready for a niche sport. Why? There is a term for it, but we'll start with the description. And that is at 10:30 on Saturday morning, ESPN is going to have game day on. And you're going to be parked in the couch and you're going to turn on 10:30 game day and you're going to get exactly what you thought you were going to get. Monday Night Football. You know what's going to happen Monday night, and you know where you're going to be, and you're going to have a beverage in your hand. You're going to watch Monday Night Football. Pro tennis. You know that Saturday night the women's championship is on at 5:00, and Sunday the men's championship's on at 5:00. So that is a behavior that niche sports would have to break. And so to do that, you have to have a consistent time, a consistent channel, or a consistent vehicle to get to that channel, and knowing where it's going to be and when it's going to be there. So that's what you're fighting with a niche sport. And how do you fight that? You fight that by spending advertising dollars and lead-in dollars to get you to the TV channel to watch it, right? And then you say to yourself, okay, what does that cost? It's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. You know the numbers. I mean, it's got multiple commas. So
yeah.
Then you say to yourself, you have to make a business decision. And our business decision was, okay, we tried this in 2020. We piloted it in 2019 on the cheap to see if people would engage on it. We did it in 2020 on the world stage on NBC the day after New Year's Day. Huge ratings, but that was also a function of the programming that people came out of and or were going into. That's a huge play.
Yeah.
So it didn't make financial sense. And I've tried to help people understand that, and that are pursuing those vehicles, to understand that those are the economics of the game. So that's the reason for that change with us. We switched to an elite mentality. So we are really doing everything we can for the Continental Cup Olympians. They're a big part of the race in Mississippi.
Well, and they're also going to be, the future names of the sport as it grows. So you'd be a fool not to invest in these names, because one out of 50 might end up really they could be our Michael Jordan. They could be our what are the tennis players, or Venus and Serena Williams? They could make a name for our sport in a new way.
Right. There's no question in my mind's eye that Andre Opar made a great decision that said, we are going to support the elites, and they're going to end up being our future. And that goes from juniors all the way up. So McPherson's raced with us. Gwen Jorgensen's, we've had them all, right? Seth Rogers raced with us, from the current team that brought us home a silver medal and or gold medals in the past. And the juniors that are coming up are unbelievable. USAT's got a project called Project Podium that they're focused on 7 males and I think 7 females for 2028. They've all raced with us. And at the end of the day, that was the decision we made. And that was a tough decision for us, but we thought it was the right thing to do.
I wouldn't fault you. You all threw a lot of finances at trying to make the broadcast thing work. And I think still we see it now where entities are trying to make that happen. And as much as I do think that it validates a lot of what we're doing, it should still be not breaking the bank, because let's face it, you're right. It's going to be replays, highlights, and used for just quick blurbs. No one really is going to sit down unless you're a true diehard fan. That's probably like a third of the entire triathlete population, which is still kind of niche anyways, that are going to wake up and watch 12 hours of racing unless it's a world championship. So I totally get it. I think the participation aspect of our sport, the community growth, the taking care of people, that's what we all do really well at. And I think even as pro athletes, we need to remember it's not about a result as much as you think it is. Like, yeah, you got to have those results at some point in your career, but you need to do more for the sport to keep it around. And this is not just by you showing up and training silently, racing 6 times a year and expecting to get paid from that. Like that, the model is definitely changing. And
that business model is dead.
Yeah. It's actually good to see that there's a lot of growth and people still maintaining and growing. And of course, you all put pro athletes on for whatever you can to help your organization. Like you've employed a lot of current and former pro triathletes. So you're looking to take people who've been there and done that and give them a place to make an impact on it. So that's really been super cool. I was there in Biloxi, Mississippi and Florida when that BP oil spill happened up in the Gulf Coast. Like I remember kite surfing and all of a sudden I'd be going through this giant sheen of oil. I'd come out with my wetsuit all gross. So like, I remember that cleanup, and that was disastrous. And I haven't been to some of these places since, but Mississippi sounds like they're opening up, welcoming you. How was that? Did they approach you? How'd that go?
How did that go? I had approached the governor. He said that endurance sports is exactly what Mississippi was looking for. His economic development team was amazing. 3 months later, we had a deal. And we had done the site visit. Biloxi is sort of one edge. We chose Gulfport because its location to very affordable hotels. And you can go 13 miles down the street and stay at Harrods if you'd like.
Nice.
So the strip between the two is a beautiful segment of property. Those beaches are gorgeous. We had looked at and talked to governors in different places, and we landed on that because of that one specific reason. We thought that we could provide the best experience at that location. And just wait to see it now. I mean, what they have done to make that place beautiful. And Gulfport's a very special town. Biloxi's a very special town. The food there is amazing. The history there is amazing. I think that they're going to debut the finisher medal, which is going to be pretty special to the coastal Mississippi race.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, I was there for Hurricane Katrina too. I was stationed on the military base there, and I remember seeing the devastation. Like a couple weeks ago, we were all on the waterfront hanging out. That week, I did 9 weeks of humanitarian service to kind of help provide power, food, and services through the U.S. Air Force during my schooling. There was nothing left. Foundations. That was all you saw. There was no human left on that planet. And the bridge, I remember going from Biloxi to Gulfport, I think might have been that, but it was gone. Didn't exist anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'd be crazy to see that again.
Yeah. And it's a beautiful bridge now. And we had talked about incorporating that into the course because they do a marathon there that does incorporate that into the course. But you're right. There was nothing left. The interesting thing to me was the number of plantation style homes on that stretch of property between those two cities. And how they sustained. Some did not, but many did. There are these old plantation homes that you're riding by on your bike that have the moss hanging down from the trees. It's just scenic. And I don't know what it looked like before the fact, but I will tell you what they have done has been magical.
Are you going to continue to try to branch out of the speedway format? I know loops are always going to be there. Some of the grassroots but what is the, goal from future racing?
I think from our perspectives, we're going to continue to diversify. We have not landed on our next tri-event location. We're down to a couple of facilities that are track based. We're down to one that is green space based. And what we're trying to do is to put more products in the mix. Do we need a gravel tri? Maybe.
Yeah.
That's gaining some popularity. Do we need to be able to do a great gravel ride in conjunction with the other stuff? So we've got some specific properties in the NASCAR portfolio that will allow that to happen. But we've also got some green space opportunities that also will allow that to happen. So the answer to that is we're adding one this year for 2026. We just pulled off our second big gravel ride while I was at Worlds. So that was 2 weekends ago. And the half marathons already oversold what it did last year. So we're pretty excited about that. So we're going to continue to grow. We're going to do it organically. We did try to buy some races back in 2022. Balance sheets were all messed up because of all the carry forward from the pandemic. And it's just tough to buy a race in the United States, although I know people have been successful.
Well, you know that the race here in St. George, Utah, for the iconic 15 years it's been going on, is no longer occurring. I mean, proven. It's a great place to have a race, Bill. I mean, I don't know if you ever looked at this area, but I know that
the water's cold, Nick, and it's not flat.
It's not flat.
It's against everything I stand for.
Well, it's certainly not cold in that time of year.
Yeah. It's a beautiful town. You were my personal guide because I had never been there before.
Yeah, it's a great place to be. But I think the sky's the limit when it comes to putting on races in fun communities that are really hungry for it.
Yeah, and I also think that, having a roving race is not a bad idea. There are a couple other major sports that are doing it. I mean, you see the NBA is going to Europe to play ball. You've got football that's going to Europe to play ball. You got a lot of people that want to see a different product, and people are capitalizing on that. So moving a race and having a roving race probably is not a bad idea.
Well, you're a busy guy. I mean, how much is Clash taking up your time these days? Is it full on, or are you still doing the other stuff?
They kicked me out of the device business. My daughter and my partner and our sales team kicked me out of the device business. I tend to be over there. I'm still the executive chairman. So the checkbook's still mine, but that's about it.
That's okay. That's a good thing.
Yeah, but so Clash and obviously what I'm doing with the University of Central Florida, being the largest school in the country and being a part of its trajectory and its growth and its strategic plan is just amazing. I took on vice chair responsibility there at the beginning of the year, and it's just a fabulous place to be. And as you know, there was a big push for triathlon inside the NCAA until the House settlement did the rev share portion, and that sort of put the skids on adding new sports. Our commitment was to make sure all the existing sports were funded. That was our conference MO, if you will. But Clash has eaten up a pretty good amount of my time. We're currently looking hard at, as I shared, 3 venues. But those venues are going to be different. They're going to be providing different products.
That's the best part. Different products. We've all been around the triathlon circuit enough to know that what that's going to feel like and look like. So doing something out of our comfort zone is super good. Now, let's finish on this. What is the race officially going to be called in Mississippi? Is it have just
Clash Endurance Coastal Mississippi.
Okay. And what is the
I just
date?
got that wrong. My marketing team's going to kill me.
Yeah. We can voice over you.
Yeah.
When is it?
I'm sorry?
When is the date?
So it's the last weekend of March, and it's going to be our standard Friday, Saturday, Sunday format. So Friday will be all of the Continental Cup. So you've got everybody from the Americas coming to gain points. 28's coming up. It's going to be honest before you know it. All the U.S. Olympians are so excited to have a place to earn points close to home. They don't know what to do.
Yeah.
We're excited to be able to put that on. That is a big undertaking, but that's, like the kids, our opportunity to give back. We've got the collegiates coming in on Saturday for draft and non-draft legal. I will tell you that after we put the elites off, we put off a wave of collegiates that they're putting
Just as quick.
They're fast. And then we start putting in age groupers by estimated time.
What are you looking at for estimated, pricing for these types of events? And what is the distance of like the age group race you'll be kind of majorly presenting?
So we're going to offer a host of products. The first is the Continental Cup product, which is going to be draft and non-draft legal, which Nick, to see 40 people getting off a bike at the same time is probably, and there's no crashes. I just don't understand that.
Well, sometimes there's crashes.
But it's pretty sophisticated. So draft legal, non-draft legal, Olympic, both for collegiate and non-collegiate. Our standard sprint distance, we did put the Daytona distance in coastal Mississippi. We're excited about that. We'd like to think that distance is going to be a distance that people are going to migrate to. If it's not, we're going to put a middle distance on as well. Let's see. I think the thing that I am the most excited about is to watch the energy around the mixed relay.
Yeah, those are so fun.
So fun to watch. And then obviously we'll have a 5K and a 10K run. So it'll be it's going to be a full weekend.
Nice. So plan 3 or 4 days, get every member of your family involved, sign somebody up. There's a lot of ways to get people there. You can twist their arm, you can peer pressure them, or you can just train with them every day.
But, let's talk about that real quick, because fear of swimming is still the number one blocking point, if you will, barrier to triathlon. And so friends of ours from Swim Across America are joining us in Daytona this year to put on their Swim Across America event. And we've learned a bunch. One of those is angels in the water with swimmers. So if you'd like to have somebody swim with you, we're going to find somebody to swim with you.
That's really impressive. So they get through there, they're with you the whole swim, and then they're done and you're on your way.
Yep.
That's really smart, Bill. I haven't really even heard of that concept till just now. I love it.
I love it. And Rob Boucher is the CEO of Swim Across America, and he's a local guy who has done so much. I think they deploy about $15 million a year in charity through Swim Across America.
Wow.
It's fabulous. Yeah, it's real money.
That's huge.
And they do that. They've got an angel program. They're the ones who taught us about it. We have not yet started formally, but we will start formally doing swim camps and or working with the YMCA here in town, and then growing that program a little bit, because we've always done it. We've always worked with the Y. We've always had a great partnership, but we need to be better at executing that, especially for the kids. But those are the two things we see as barriers. And if we can get people into relays, Nick, this is the way to do it. How do I put together 3 friends? Okay, you are a swimmer, and you know how to bike and you know how to run, and let's go have a good time.
And let's have a beer afterwards, as the 80s guys would say.
You know us. We've got a beer garden.
Oh, Bill, I really am glad that we got to link up and talk about everything you've been doing. It's been definitely a year since I've seen you. So
too long.
Next time I want to get together with you in Aspen or do something. Like, I know our paths are going to cross, but in the meantime, I love seeing what you're doing. And if there's anything our network or whatever we can do for Real Tri Squad or our pros or our whatever, anybody, and even our coaching group, like, let us know, man. We want do the same thing you're doing.
Well, you guys have always been so supportive, and I've got some ideas. So
I know we're never short of
here on this podcast, but I've got a couple ideas that I'm going to come back to you with and see what you think.
All right. So last final plug, Bill. Here's your last 10 seconds to talk about this race to get people to go and where they can find out how to sign up.
So Clash Endurance, Coastal Mississippi. I promise you'll be one of the most beautiful events you've ever been to. Unbelievable course. If you can't do it by yourself, find people to do a relay with you. You're going to have great food. You're going to have local food and flair. You're going to have local color. You're going to have local music. But at the end of the day, you've got opportunities to fly into one of 3 airports or drive because of its central location and enjoy yourself regardless of whether or not you want to stay at an inexpensive hotel or a very high-end hotel. You've got the aquarium across the street. You've got so many fantastic things they've done. Clash Endurance, go to clash-usa.com and you'll see the button. And we hope we see you on the registration.
Thanks, Bill. That was great. I think it makes me actually want to just get down there too and see it for myself. And, you know, I'm going to retire in a few years, Bill, so I'll be not trying to kill myself at this sport anymore. But, man, you're a superhero, and thanks for all that you do. Thanks for the care and the attention to detail to help keep our sport alive, my friend, in the USA. We need you, and do not stop.
Nick, if it wasn't for people like you and my friendship with you, it'd be a different story. But the people in this sport are amazing people, and that's what I love the most about it. So
it's like, what's that Tommy Boy movie with Ray Zielinski's like, I make races for the American triathlete because that's who I am and that's who I care about.
Isn't that the truth? But it's such an, I've not met a triathlete yet that I didn't like. So we're in good company, but I appreciate the compliment. I know you guys are doing great things, but I am going to come back to you because I got a couple crazy ideas, and you know me, I like crazy.
That's right. All right, Bill. Check out Clash Endurance. Thanks, Ben, Bill. We'll talk to you soon, my friend. Peace out.
Cheers.